The bright lights of Truist Park shone like a beacon on the night of July 14, casting a warm southern glow over the 2025 Major League Baseball All-Star festivities. The stars of the game had gathered. The cameras rolled. The fans roared. But beneath the buzz and bravado of baseball's midsummer jewel, a deeper question loomed, one that refused to be drowned out by cheers or confetti. Why Atlanta? Why now? Why had Georgia, just 4 years after being stripped of the All-Star Game over its controversial voting laws, once again been chosen as host? For many, the return of the Midsummer Classic to Atlanta was a moment of pride and redemption. A celebration of baseball's roots in the South. A nod to the history, the heritage, the hometown heroes that helped shape the game. And yet, for others, the decision rang hollow. It felt like a reversal. A retreat. A forgetting of the fight that once inspired a stand. It was in 2021 that Major League Baseball made headlines not for a home run, but for a decision. The league had pulled the All-Star Game out of Atlanta in response to Georgia's newly passed voting laws, legislation critics argued would disproportionately suppress the voices of minority voters. It was a rare moment when sports and social justice aligned, when a league took a stand not just for its fans, but for its values. But now, in 2025, here we were again. Back in Georgia. Back in Atlanta. Back in the eye of the storm. The press conference on July 14 was meant to be routine, a feel-good preview of the lineups and the players who'd take the field. National League manager Dave Roberts, a steady and respected voice in the game, was on hand. So was sports media powerhouse Pat McAfee, acting as MC, injecting energy and flair into the proceedings. But then came the question. Sharp, unflinching. A reporter asked Roberts, who had publicly supported MLB's decision to move the game in 2021, how he felt about returning to Georgia, even though the controversial voting laws had not been repealed, amended, or softened. The laws, the reporter noted, haven't changed. It was a moment of silence that felt heavier than 1,000 cheering fans. McAfee jumped in quickly. His instincts as a performer, and perhaps a protector, kicked in. I believe the question was a political question about laws that are on the books, he said. I don't know if any of us or experts are the ones that should be getting asked about that. He meant well. He tried to redirect. He tried to shield Roberts and others from a topic as complex as it is contentious. But the question lingered in the air, like a high-fly ball that refused to drop. Because it was more than a question. It was a reminder. A reminder that sports do not exist in a vacuum. A reminder that decisions, like awarding or revoking the All-Star Game, have consequences. A reminder that symbolism without follow-through becomes spectacle. When MLB pulled the game from Atlanta in 2021, it sent shockwaves through the country. It was hailed by many as a brave stand for democracy, for inclusion, for the right of every citizen to cast their vote without obstacle or intimidation. It was also criticized by some as performative, political, unnecessary. But what no one could deny was that it mattered. And now, 4 years later, the laws are still there. They still require strict voter ID for absentee ballots. They still limit the number of ballot drop boxes. They still make it a crime to hand out water to people waiting in long voting lines. The All-Star Game is back. The eyes of the nation are once again on Atlanta. But has anything truly changed? That's the question. It's not about Roberts, who manages lineups, not legislatures. It's not about McAfee, whose role is to entertain, not to adjudicate. It's about a league that once claimed to take a moral stand. A league that made headlines not for batting averages, but for boldness. So what does this return signify? Is it a quiet admission of fatigue? A surrender to political pressure? A business decision disguised as nostalgia? Or is it something else? Is it possible that the league believes in healing? In second chances? In honoring a city without endorsing its policies? The truth may be somewhere in between. But what's undeniable is this: sports are never just about sports. Every pitch, every hit, every game played in Atlanta this week happens against a backdrop of unresolved tension and unfinished conversations. The cheers will be real. The fireworks will fly. The home runs will be epic. But so too will the questions remain. Because the story of baseball, like the story of America, is not just one of triumph, it is one of struggle. Of evolving values. Of moments when the game must pause to ask, what do we stand for? That question is still waiting for a full answer. Until then, Atlanta shines in the spotlight once more. But the light is not just for celebration, it is for examination. And while the bats swing and the fans chant, there will be others, quietly watching, quietly wondering, if this return means progress or simply profit. This is the duality of modern sports. This is the weight of the moment. This is what happens when a game, however unintentionally, finds itself at the center of the nation's conscience. Let the games begin, but let the conversation continue.